Well, here I sit, broken-hearted, paid a penny and only farted. As a poem from my youth. What a day. This morning I had to go for performance review with my work. It's a 3-year renewable contract. Forgive the wind noises, I forgot the socks for my microphone, so I hope it's okay, but it's only amateur, it's not Hollywood. Anyway, back to my story. Today I had to go for a performance review for my work, and every 3 years, every year the contract renewed automatically. So after a year, do you want to stay? Yep. Second year, do you want to stay? Yep. Third year complete. Then we have to go for a performance review. And that was this morning. So go to the meeting. I decided that I was going to try and do the whole meeting in Japanese. There's some dispensation. There's a lady there who... Hold on a sec, there's a train going to go past. There's a lady there that can speak English, and I'm sure that she was made available because they knew, the Japanese staff in the city office knew I was going for the performance review. But out of politeness, I think I should make more of an effort. To my embarrassment, I would still only describe my Japanese level as intermediate, and the lower end of that. And I'll give you some examples. So I go for my performance review, and I go into the room and sit down, and the first guy asks me a question about communication with other teachers. So, Mr. Duncan, blah, 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 other teachers, blah, 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 communication, blah, blah, blah. And I got the topic. He's asking about communication with other teachers, but I was unsure of the direction, the necessity of the communication. So got about 50% of that question. So I tried to answer quite generally, without making myself look like a total dick. So I managed that. Then this comes to another point. Going into the hospital. Today I stopped taking the stronger medication, which means we're playing a waiting game before my heart goes into spasm mode. Starts going 100 to the dozen. So I've got the anxiety of going into hospital tomorrow and stopping the medication today. So there's two big things on my mind right now. And then I've got to go for the performance review. So my health takes priority, and it's tomorrow, so there's been a lot going on in preparation for going into hospital for a week. And several other things have happened which I'll come to in a bit, but the tension's not good for your AF, and anybody will tell you the more stressful your your situation, the more likely you are to have atrial fibrillation episodes come. So I'm stopped taking the medication. I'm going into hospital tomorrow, and I got my performance review today. But me being a stubborn twat, I decided to do the whole thing in Japanese. The reason was, well, I kind of said to myself, no, my health is more important. I can't put the time into this interview, the mental energy. I just have to do my best on the day. I'm too concerned about what's happening tomorrow than what's gone on this morning. That's not very Buddhist of me, is it? You're supposed to be in the moment. Don't worry about the future, forget about the past. It doesn't always work like that. Yeah. And then some other things has happened recently. I made contact with two of my cousins who, as a kid, I looked up to a lot. I look forward to hanging out with them. During the summer holidays, we used to have some sleepovers, even sleepover for the whole weekend. Man, that was exciting. We went to watch the wrestling. We went to watch Big Daddy versus Giant Haystacks back in the day, with my cousins. I won't mention their names, but if they see this, they'll know who they are. And then I got my father sent to prison. I had to do that. Taking care of that business, it was the right thing to do. Timing wasn't an issue. My hand was forced because he was still had access to children. Had I not seen him that day with that little kid, I might not have thought to go to the police that day, that week. You know, it might have taken a few more years, but my hand was forced. Yeah. So, anyway, he was arrested, charged with, I can't remember, 12 offences, to which he pled guilty to the most minor 4. And I won't go into detail, it's not necessary. But the 12 charges, he pled guilty to a third of them. Okay. And during the course of the arrest, the preparation for trial, for the trial itself, both of them, because it happened twice, immediately after, my dad and his sister and their family, my cousins, stood against me in court. And I got back in touch with them. Now, my parents are both dead. Their parents are both dead. There's always two sides to every story, and I'd like to know from their side, how was it for you? You know, what was going on, because they supported him through quite a significant part of his prison sentence. He wasn't just helping him out on the day in court. And I've thought about this a lot, because, you know, if I had a mate who robbed a bank because he was broke, I would still be his mate. You know, I can relate to that. Although the robbery is wrong, the method is terrible, you know, I understand. But in this case, he pled guilty to sexual contact with a child, for 4 counts of sexual contact with a child. And that division, because he went with his sister, not only did I lose these 2 particular cousins, I lost access to a huge portion of my blood kin. My dad had 2 older brothers, an older sister, 2 younger sisters, and a younger brother. So as a kid, I had literally hundreds of cousins. So any vacation we could go and hang out with, you know, various family members. So you're not always going to the same family week after week to hang out. But the decision to take him to court and prosecute him, I lost access to all of my extended family. My sister did too, because she was with me in the court. But a lot of time's passed, and I don't blame them. I'm not accusing them of anything. They have their own moral compass, their own path that brought them from us being kids hanging out together and going, sorry, it's another train, and going to watch Giant Haystacks and Big Daddy wrestling. How did it go from that to me sitting on one side of the court with a bunch of mates and my dad having his family on the other side of the court? I always thought family was a bond, you know, you read about it in books, you see it on TV, the Waltons, the perfect, you know, large nine-person family living in the Appalachians through the Great Depression, the wonderful family life, little house on the prairie, wonderful family life. You know, we it's not always like that. But I stand by my decision. But now I'm at a point in my life where I feel isolated and, well, alone. Other than my wife and her family, where are my blood kin? You know? And there's lots of them out there. So I decided to contact the 2 that played the most significant part as being cousins hanging out when I was a kid. So that contact's been going on this week as well, and the stopping the medication, and the going into hospital tomorrow, and the performance review today at work, which through poor choice I did all in Japanese and probably sounded completely retarded. I look back and I laugh. I know that I'd made some mistake as soon as the words come out of my mouth. Oh no, but you have to keep going because you're in the middle of the situation. You have to follow it through. I know it sounded rude. I didn't mean to be rude. I just lack vocabulary to say it more subtly. That's the problem. Yeah. One of the things the new Prime Minister said is all foreigners should have compulsory Japanese classes. Bring it on. I've been saying this for 13 years. I cannot find appropriate professional Japanese language tuition in this prefecture. There is none that I can find. There is some professional school or professional teacher, but the hours are between 12 midday and 3 p.m. and it's predominantly for Chinese and Vietnamese who are married to Japanese men and are housewives. So they go out in the middle of the day and, they get professional Japanese tuition. But I'm at work all day, every day. And Saturday and Sunday I'm so knackered. I spend most of the time lying on the floor. Occasionally I get the energy to go for a hike with one of my mates or go out and do a bit of photography with my drones, which I enjoy. But it's not as easy. So the huge amount of stress is going forward. And then I've had another issue that's come up that I want to talk about today. When somebody you've known for a very long time says something that makes you doubt what they said a long time ago. That's as diplomatic as I can say it, because he might watch this. So I'll repeat that. A friend of mine has said something recently that made me doubt something he said a long time ago. And that bothers me greatly. But the love's still there. He's my brother. But I don't know how to get to the bottom of that issue, to find out where it's come from. Because it's very serious for me, because what I heard years ago, I recently put in an official document for the British authorities, and I signed my name on that as being the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Because that's what my friend said 23 years ago. And it's been discussed on and off ever since. As any of you know me will know, so I often talk about my history because of the impact it's made on the rest of my life. And so this has come along. So I won't say that there's no damage to the friendship, because this is a man that I love as he was a blood kin. But what he said recently made me doubt what he said a long time ago, which I believed. And I don't know how to get to the bottom of that situation, to find out where that discrepancy comes from. I could speculate, but I can't understand. So I'm going to leave it, because there's too much going on. I'm going into hospital for tomorrow and go back to the house this afternoon. I'm going to have a couple of hours lying on the floor, and then I've got to get my bag ready for a week in the hospital. I read recently and talked about the research that's come out in the last few years of how trauma and stress impact the likelihood of developing atrial fibrillation, the progression of your atrial fibrillation, the severity of it, and how treatment pathways are likely to progress. Now, in my case, the trauma is long gone, but as I said before, it doesn't always end with the end of the trauma, because I jumped out the frying pan and straight into the fire, and the hypervigilance continued for many years, but through choice in organised crime, low-level organised crime. Yeah, that's pretty much what it was, looking back. Now, nowhere near the craze or any of that crazy gangster shit, but it is what it is when you do crime deliberately for profit. That's what it is. Yeah. I've completely lost my train of thought now, but that's alright. I got most of it out, what I wanted to say. Hospital tomorrow, stopped the medication today, had a performance review today. My bank got hacked as well. My UK HSBC account got hacked by a company in Hong Kong somehow. They took out 88 yen beginning of October, and then they took out, wasn't much, it was £9.50 a week every week since, without my knowledge or authorization. And I only noticed with that account, I only use it for things I have to pay monthly. So I know exactly what's coming out. It's my Google, it's a Canvas subscription, it was a Adobe Lightroom subscription, and X amount of money going to come out every month. So I never really bothered to check it. I live in Japan, I work in Japan, all my financial stuff's done in Japan. I no need to check that bank. But then payment got declined. I got a notification, I've checked it, all my money's gone, like drip feeding out into this company in Hong Kong. And it's not a huge amount, a few £100, but it's, you know, an additional stress on top of everything else I've discussed. Yeah, so I've managed to get that hack thing to the point where they can't hack anymore, but it's not fully sorted out because I haven't managed to reset all of my subscriptions. They've all got Canvas gone, Google One accounts gone, just because I haven't been able to get my shit together to get it all updated before going into hospital tomorrow. So yeah, that's another added one. So the point being, having got AF through genetics, parents got AF, they had bad childhoods, I had a awful childhood, developed AF later in life, but I always seem to be stress bombed. Every few years something goes off, like this has, like a load of things happening at once. Each on their own is not too much trouble to worry about, really, but cumulatively, I'm damn sure it's not doing my heart good, the stress. And leading up to this stay in the hospital, there's been some discussion about the new research with my doctor and with my hospital surgeon. My attending physician is going to be more in charge of that, making the appointments, but having my parasympathetic, sympathetic nervous system, which controls your adrenaline and your fight or flight, having that examined, because I still have awful nightmares, which is connected to the onset of atrial fibrillation attacks, the AF. Not always, it can come anytime, when I'm at work, when I'm in the supermarket, but often it happens when I have a nightmare. 55 years old, I'm still having like really bad nightmares because my parasympathetic, sympathetic nervous system is always switched on. And I've learned to live with it. But apparently that is treatable. I mean, it's known in people diagnosed with PTSD. I lose my temper quickly, and when I do, it's uncontrollable sometimes. I've never hurt anybody. There's another train. Never done anybody any serious harm, thank God. But if it's something that's treatable, I've said to a few friends, I want to go to the Amazon and sit with a shaman for a couple of weeks, because it's the only thing that I haven't tried to get rid of these nightmares. I've tried everything else, psychiatry, psychology, even went and did a degree, for God's sake. But there's still that thing there. And it's only recently, with reading that research and talking to my doctor and seeing the connection between stress and trauma cumulatively on the heart over a lifetime. What was happening to me happened while my body was developing. 4 years old to 14. Okay. In the same way, people warn children, teenagers, shouldn't smoke weed because their brains are not fully developed. And so the THC in the weed can cause psychiatric problems, other mood disorders, or no damage at all. But it's likely, that exposing in vitro, like in the womb, crack babies and smack babies being born, the chances of them developing chronic heart disease as an adult is very, very high. So, yeah. Going forward, I'm gonna prioritize chill, relaxation and peace above everything else. I don't want stress, because I believe, the research is also showing that an absence of stress, whichever way you achieve that, some people do it by being a hermit, like just staying away from everybody. Some people do it through yoga or martial arts or whatever. The absence of stress completely is increases positive long-term outcomes for the AF patient. But it's hard, man. It's easy enough to say that, but you're not in control of everything. What if those three people in my performance review think that I'm shit, and they put the thing, then I'm out of a job. Things happen, that are outside your sphere of influence. And so unless you remove yourself, you're always going to be open for stressful situations. But it always seems to happen to me, like I've had a good run, I've had a couple of years which have been great, and I've really felt settled mentally and together and content, happy even, for the first time in my life, you know, not wanting for anything except a little bit more money. I mean, who doesn't need a pay rise these days? Yeah. And then boom, 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 a cascade of stress bombs, and that's not what's good for your heart. That's the thing. And I do wonder, you know, if we were able to wipe out childhood trauma, whether there would be a noticeable drop in middle age chronic heart disease. Because the research is showing, you know, the presence of excessive adrenaline and negative hormonal balance during the formative years of your body and heart and brain development, it's not good, is it? You know, having a kid through whatever, you know, being a Jehovah's Witnesses. I've seen some Jehovah's Witness kids that are messed up, man. And that's legal. That's legal to do that to the children. I wonder. Whatever. Not only like me, the path that I was sent down, but whatever, having somebody who's violent, a violent parent, or involved in, there's another train, it's the Ampan train, you can't see it. Yeah. There's so many ways that a child's life can be fucked up. Even a divorce, you know, parents' death, an affair, a house fire, a car accident. But they're one-offs, you know, but it's still a trauma. So I believe the research says between 4 and 10. I've discussed this before. Between 4 and 10 experiences as a child. I had over 1,000. I mean, so many, it's impossible to calculate the total. But like with simple math, if you add up the number of weeks and divide the total, you get an average. Yeah, I had over 1,000 experiences before I attempted to take my own life, and it all stopped. So that's the story of my heart, really, and the stress and the impact of stress. Paddy Pimblett just got his ass beat in a UFC fight. And it doesn't matter, I don't know if he and I would ever be mates or not, but one thing that I'm going to pat him on the back for is him standing up and speaking out about men's mental health. It's important. And my age group is overrepresented. You know, it's very easy to lose your way in the current world that we live in. To lose your relevance, to feel unimportant or left behind. That's the thing. Trauma victims often feel left behind. Playing catch up, I would describe it. I am at 55 where I should have been at 35. You know. I'm behind. But even the position I'm in, I've worked so hard to be in this position that I find myself being content in this position because this position is secure for the time being. You know, but if my shitty Japanese during my performance review gets me the boot from my job, it's on me. I have to own it. And don't misunderstand, this is supposed to be about my heart and about the journey through this second ablation. But cause and effect, and I think it's connected. And I'm going to use this group to post not specifically research only on that, but to include that. When I say I'm a scientist, I say that by choice. I believe in science. So if somebody said, Ethel from Banbury says that rubbing a shrimp on your toe is good for AF, that's a no-go. I'm not going to accept that. Published, sourced research, I'm going to add, as I read it and post it to this group, I'm going to add it to the LM cardiology chatbot that I built. Once I get my subscription back up and running, after I come out of hospital and I get Google paid up again, I'm gonna do that. As I post the research, I'm gonna add it to the chatbot, and it should have just keep growing in knowledge, really. And I'm surprised nobody else has done it. Health Unlocked should have done it. Atrial Fibrillation Association should have done it. But I'm going to do it for my own benefit and just offer it out there to the world for free for AF patients to use. The cumulative knowledge of, the best research at your fingertips. That's the end goal. But tomorrow, 10:30, I've got to go into hospital. And I'll try and make more. Today's been a bit of a rant, but there's been a lot to cover, and I believe it's all connected. After reading that recent research. So, yeah, I'll try and do more frequent, shorter steps along the way. But today I had a lot to get off my chest. Cumulatively, it's been a very, very intense couple of weeks leading up to something that's very serious and potentially life-threatening. But that is quite a small chance. So fingers crossed. I just want to say that in my country at the moment, wearing this is enough to get me arrested. This is a Palestinian scarf, and I wear it to acknowledge the suffering that I have witnessed with my own eyes for the people who live in Gaza. I'm not getting involved in the politics of it. I'm not an anti-Semite. I don't think that Israel should be wiped from the face of the earth. I'm not an extremist. The citizens of Israel aren't responsible for what happened generations ago. So coexistence is the only path. But I think for the United Kingdom, a friend of mine is afraid to wear this because he'll be arrested. Palestine Action is a terrorist group. It's a fucking scarf, man. It keeps my neck warm. I bought it before this war even was a twinkle in Benjamin Netanyahu's eye. And I'm not going to stop wearing it because it offends people. It keeps my neck warm. It's a scarf. Stop overthinking things. Stop looking for reasons to divide. I'm done. I'm going home.